So welcome everyone once again. This is the Thrive with Pride Cafe Plenary for June of 2020. We've had a great time chatting and catching up. I've met some new folks. I've touched in with people that I've known in the pre-corona world. So good to see everybody and so grateful to have all of you joining us. This is a little recording we're going to make so that we can share it with folks who are not able to be here. And also to share more information about Age Options, AgeGuide, and our programming together with those who might be interested. So as some folks on the call already said, we are closing in on the end of Pride Month, which of course is the month of June. In this time, it feels especially important to recall that the first Pride was a riot. The Stonewall protests or riots or uprising, as some people like to call them, in New York City. That was 1969, which some days feels a long time ago and sometimes feels just the near past. And we want to remember too that this uprising was led in large part by LGBT folks of color, folks like Marsha P. Johnson, a transgender Black woman, Stormy DeLavery, whose name I always mispronounce, a Black lesbian woman. And they were joined in that early LGBT rights movement by Sylvia Rivera, a transgender Latina. So folks of color have always been a part of our community, a part of our history, and a part of our legacy. And there are plenty of folks on this call who have been a part of this history as well, history that we're still indeed living through. So our programming today is about looking forward. Again, my name is Kate. I work for Age Options, logo in the back. Age Options is the area agency on aging for suburban Cook County. Our mission statement is to innovate, partner, and advocate to improve systems and services in order to strengthen communities so that people thrive as they age. The fact that we're the area agency on aging for suburban Cook County means that we administrate a number of really important programs that are funded by the Older Americans Act. All of these have different technical titles to them, but they're programs that help keep people fed through both congregate dining sites that you can go and have a sit-down meal in. Well, not right now, but eventually when we're through this pandemic, you can go and have a sit-down meal. Right now, of course, we're delivering meals and groceries to folks in their home. Programs like extra help with chores or other activities that help people keep living on in their own homes. We run adult protective services programs that prevent people from being abused or exploited financially. We do some health programming that helps people manage chronic conditions or diseases. We help equip caregivers. We were talking a little bit earlier about some folks who are maybe an older adult or not an older adult, but caregiving actively for a friend or a family member. And we also help people figure out how to take the most advantage of their Medicare or Medicaid benefits. We also help with other benefit programs that help people stay fed, obtain low cost or free services. All of these programs are available through Age Options, and then we also fund out to a number of partner agencies, over 70 of them in suburban Cook County. You can always call Age Options. We have an 800 number that's later on in this presentation, and we can either answer your question over the phone or refer you out to one of those partner agencies. If you don't live in suburban Cook County, do not worry. We have a wonderful partnership with AgeGuide, and I'd like to introduce Megan Weilman, who will speak a little bit about her role at AgeGuide and what they do. Megan, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
See you. I'm going to try to find you real quick.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for the opportunity to join you today. As Kate mentioned, my name is Megan Weilman, and I'm the Aging and Disability Resource Specialist at AgeGuide, which again is the area agency on aging that covers the 8 collar counties outside of suburban Cook County. So that's DuPage, Grundy, Kane, Kankakee, Kendall, Lake, McHenry, and Will. So like Age Options, we fund and coordinate a variety of services that support older adults and those caring for them, as well as engage in a variety of advocacy efforts to promote and elevate policies and programs that support older adults and caregivers. So like Age Options, we We fund other organizations primarily to provide direct services and support to older adults and caregivers. So some of those include home delivered meals, caregiver supportive services, transportation. We're involved in a lot of programming right now to help reduce isolation and loneliness, such as technology and education programs, friendly visiting services, as well as telephone reassurance services as well. And a lot of really great services that we're also engaging in to help reduce support individuals who are experiencing Alzheimer's disease and other related dementias. So, at our mission at AgeGuide, it's really to empower all older adults and caregivers to remain independent, connected, and to age well. So we're very excited to be part of these efforts to create more welcoming and affirming spaces that will help LGBTQ plus individuals feel safe and accepted, as well as offer more services and resources to support their well-being and social connectedness in the communities where they live. So this is something, again, we're very excited. We're happy to be here to learn more about resources so we can better support LGBTQ folks in the 8 collar counties where we live. So again, if you happen to live in one of our 8 counties, you're looking for services and resources, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I'd be happy to, give you some guidance and then connect you with one of our funded partners to provide some additional support. So thanks again.
Thank you so much, Megan. We also want to recognize that, of course, some folks on this call, and all of us know some folks who are not in the immediate area of Chicago, folks who are either in other counties in Illinois or maybe elsewhere in the United States. You can always use eldercare.acl.gov to find resources. You go in and type your address. This is a little screenshot of what that website looks like. Or you can call their toll-free number at 800-677-1116. I want to speak briefly about what this Thrive with Pride Cafe idea is all about. We are hoping as an agency and indeed as an aging community throughout Illinois to increase our resources and our knowledge for serving the LGBT community. We hope to draw on this community's natural resilience and the ability of folks to create and maintain friendships, partnerships, and networks of support. I want to say that we're, again, all part of this history that I spoke about earlier, and it's time to claim our spot in that and in the aging services scheme. So Thrive with Pride has kind of 2 components. I've worked on how I can describe this, but I might need to work on it some more. We hope that you'll join us here every month for a live discussion. I'll preview a little bit of what we have up for July in just a second. Hopefully the Zoom information will stay the same, so you'll be able to come log on using the same information or the same meeting ID that you have now. If you didn't get that log on information, if you're watching this video later, feel free to email me or even Megan to be sent that information directly. We also have 9 partner organizations, largely affirming churches and faith communities, that'll be hosting smaller follow-up discussions. So if a timing for one of those works better for you, or if you just like to be in a smaller discussion group where you can really get to know people, feel free to contact me and I will make sure to connect you with one of those local partners. We'll be here the 4th Tuesday of each month at 11 a.m. And again, that Zoom information should stay the same. And I hope you'll join us in July because we will be joined by Paula Basta. Paula is the director of the Illinois Department on Aging. I'm a little starstruck, but I realize that's maybe just because I'm in the aging services world now. So I'd love to know if anybody has any questions for Director Basta. I do want to read you just a few highlights from her biography. She's been the director of the Illinois Department on Aging since March of 2019, but has a long history of work in the LGBT community and in the aging space. In 2009, she was inducted into the LGBT Hall of Fame in Chicago, and she continues to serve as a board member of the Center for Law and Social Work, the Chicago Network on Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Aging, Windy City Performing Arts, the American Society on Aging, and is chair of the LGBT Aging Issues Network. She's also the past president and a current board member at Equality Illinois. So the Illinois Department on Aging serves the entire state with services and advocacy for our 2.7 million older adults in Illinois and their caregivers. Director Basta has a lot to share about aging services in Illinois and also her own fascinating story as an out lesbian woman in a professional setting here in Illinois. I hope you'll join us. I think it'll be a really interesting conversation. And I think she'll have lots to say and lots of great resources and ideas to share. So beyond July, we'll have to come up with more topics. AgeOptions has a host of our own programs kind of in-house, and then we work with partners across the Chicago area. Some of the things we have talked about, including in our upcoming programming, are financial and legal planning for your future, helping you identify what benefits you might be eligible for, how to better take advantage of your Medicare eligibility, thinking about caregivers. One thing that's interesting is that sometimes we don't identify as caregivers, even though we are providing vital services that are helping other people age and stay in place. We have programs that help prevent falls, that help manage physical and mental health, including chronic conditions like diabetes or other conditions. We have great programming for protecting yourself against fraud. I think, unfortunately, we're all becoming increasingly aware of that in the digital world. As more of us have links and emails and Zooms and all these things coming at us, it becomes difficult to tell the real from the fake. We also have great spiritual resources, both on this call and in our network across Chicago, who can speak to us about spirituality and aging. And of course, there's a constant concern for making sure that we're helping you find affirming and competent health care, both improving our aging network and the providers that we might refer you to. But what are you interested in? This is something that I would really like to hear more about. I have an incredibly brief, it took our test case folks less than a minute to complete it, but a really brief little follow-up survey that I hope that you'll do. I'll put that in the chat box in the Zoom and then put it also in the comments of the YouTube video when we post it. We'd love to hear from you about how this program could be helpful. It's really all a learning experiment for us here at AgeOptions, and you are providing the leadership really for us as we progress with this. I also want to give a shout out to the census. Please make sure you complete the census and tell your friends. This is the first year in census history that you'll have the option of identifying if you are in a same-sex relationship, whether that's married, unmarried, but living together. And as you can see on this slide, census responses impact over 670 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars in federal funding, which affect all of the things, the services, the resources, the roads, the libraries, everything you can think about in your community that receives government funding. Please make sure to fill out the census for yourself, for those who will come after you. And again, this is a history-making moment. This is the first time that the census will actually have any question pertaining to same-gender loving folks. You won't have to identify your sexual orientation or whether you have a transgender life experience, but again, you'll actually be able to identify as being in a same-sex relationship for the first time ever on the census. All your answers are confidential by law, and again, it takes a really short time to fill it out. So thank you again for joining us and for being a friend. I hope you'll be a friend to this cafe process by telling someone about it. Either invite them to our next plenary or invite them to connect with me so they can be connected with a local cafe partner and meet folks again in a smaller, more intimate environment. Please fill out that anonymous survey. Again, I think I can guarantee that it will take you less than 5 minutes to fill it out. If you are as fast as our testers here in the office, it might even be less than 60 seconds. And please remember to fill out the census and encourage folks who haven't already to fill it out as well. That deadline has been extended into the fall, but the earlier someone replies or makes a plan to reply, the better the chances of getting their data in actually are. Once again, we'd love to hear from you. I'm going to bring Megan's video back on so you can see her as well. We'd love to hear from you. My email and contact information are there on the screen. Megan's was earlier, but you can always reach her again by calling AgeGuide. AgeOptions is 800-699-9043. We cover, again, suburban Cook County. And AgeGuide's number is 630-293-5990. And they cover all of the collar counties of Cook County. You can also see there we have our website set up for AgeOptions, the Thrive with Pride project specifically. There are lots of resources already there. We'll post this video there soon, as well as some discussion questions to get you started if you are in one of those smaller local groups. So again, thank you so much for joining us, for being a part of this grand experiment. Thrive with Pride was always going to be an experiment, and now we get to experiment with how to do it all virtually from a distance. It's important to us, first and foremost, to keep everybody as safe as possible. So we'll be continuing online as long as this pandemic lasts. Thank you again for joining, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, concerns, suggestions, or again, if you have questions for Director Paula Basta, who we'll have with us in July.